Bill Bryson, lovely to have you on the program.
It's wonderful to be here, thank you.
So Robert Redford is playing the movie version of you. You've totally won at life, haven't you?
Well, with this one, yes. I mean, I was very, very lucky for all kinds of reasons. But when it was his company that bought the rights in the movie, and for me, that was a complete comfort right from the very beginning because Robert Redford just makes intelligent movies.
Seriously, Bill, even for you, this is ridiculous.
Why? Because you think I'm too old?
No, it's not because I think you're too old. It's because you are too old.
It's just something I feel I have to do. Jesus. Two bears staring right at me.
Oh, God damn it, Bryson. Get some sleep.
The initial thought was that it was going to be a reunion movie for Robert Redford and Paul Newman. And for a long time, I mean, for 2 or 3 years, that was the plan. And then Paul Newman got sick and unfortunately never got well and died. And then everything seemed to fall into abeyance. I mean, from my perspective, I just didn't hear anything for some time. I guess behind the scenes they were still doing things, but it took them a number of years to get it up and running again. And then when they finally got it all together, then it seemed to me to happen all really quickly. They would just announce that they were going to start filming, and they did weeks later, and the next thing you know, they've got a movie.
If Paul Newman had still been alive, he would have been and available for the project. He would have played your friend Stephen Katz, who people who've read the book will remember probably quite fondly as a lovable yet shambolic character. How long have you and he been friends for now?
Well, we met in middle school when we were about 13. He, Katz, the real Katz, came to Callanan Junior High School, middle school in Des Moines, Iowa, essentially because he'd been expelled from all the Catholic schools in the district, and this was his last chance. He was a handful. He led quite a lively life, shall we say. And when we got to many years later, when we got to middle age, when we were hiking the Appalachian Trail, by that point, he was a recovering alcoholic. He was trying, for the first time at the age of about 44, to lead a life of, to lead a quiet life and to behave himself.
Come on, we're having fun.
Holy crap. This is a trail. Here we are. We're not even halfway there.
No way that's to scale.
It says map to scale.
I had a career, I got married, I had a family. I was pretty productive and very busy. He, meanwhile, was living a life of just sort of spectacular dissipation and was really, I didn't want my children to be exposed to him. He was quite a handful. And it was only when he sobered up and started to behave himself again that it became possible for us to reunite and go off and do this hike together.
You once said that America was like your mother, England was your wife, and that you were very content with that arrangement, and then you came to Australia and it felt like you were taking a mistress, that you fell for this gorgeous chick unexpectedly.
Well, I mean, it's true. It's a little, perhaps, I might have phrased it more elegantly, but I wouldn't want to reduce Australia to just this thing I have a fling with, but it is essentially like that, because America is really genuinely where I come from. It is my mother country, and England is the one I married, and then I really did unexpectedly in middle age come to Australia for the first time. I thought I'd like it. I mean, I didn't have any reason to suppose I wouldn't like it, but I really fell for it. I mean, it was kind of head over heels. This is a fantastic place. And oddly, it was because I went to Melbourne in the wintertime that I think it was rainy, it was cold, it was actually quite miserable, and I thought, this country is nothing like the Southern California place that I thought I was coming to. Because
all countries, of course, have cliches about, what they're like that Australia is this Southern Californian wonderland and Brits are dour and whatnot. Are there truths in those stereotypes, do you think?
Yeah, and I do think that we all trade on them. And I think Australia trades on that. That's the image that tends to get sent out to the world. If you watch, I don't watch, so I may be a little out of touch, but things like Home and Away, and they always do seem to be sort of cavorting on beaches and enjoying fine weather and living this, they all seem to be incredibly attractive and have great teeth and great hair and everything. So naturally, this is the impressions you get in a foreign country of what Australia is like.
You've spent a number of years away from actually writing about places. You've been writing about science and various other things. What's then lured you back into wanting to write a book about a place?
Well, partly because I hadn't done it for a long time, and partly because I went to lunch with my publisher in London, and he said, it's been 20 years. It's the 20th anniversary since you did Notes from a Small Island, which was my book about travelling around Britain. And that book was really big in Britain. That was the book that sort of made me well known over there. And he said, why don't you go out and do it again? See how things have changed in 20 years. And I was a little bit reluctant at the idea of it. And so I eased myself into it, and I went out and I did a little traveling and thought about what would I write about. And I thought that actually Britain has changed a lot since I did the last book, and I've changed an awful lot. And so I thought, well, maybe it would be interesting to travel around Britain again and have another look at it. And that's the book I've been working on the last 18 months or so, and I just had the time of my life. I mean, for one thing, as I'm sure you'll appreciate, I had a really good time making jokes about the British. I haven't done that for a long time, but it's been quite a long time since I've made jokes at all in a book. I mean, just for the purpose of making jokes. And that was a real treat to do that.
Well, we'll look very forward to reading it. Bill Bryson, thank you very much.
Thank you, Leigh.